So we're gonna literally make a little kebab, as Jill would call it, and I call it a sandwich. So we're gonna take one ball under, one ball over. You can use anything you have, and you can adjust. So if you use the small balls, as you get up towards the thigh, you'll need like the block as well, or a book as well, to kind of fill that space between the thighs. If you just have two of the small ones, you're not going to get quite enough pressure. So I'd encourage you, if you have just like a small set of therapy balls, to grab a block, grab a thick book. A towel, a folded up towel could probably work too, or a towel roll could work too. But if you have larger alpha ball, just the alpha ball between the knee will work. So we're gonna kind of sandwich the legs as we work our way up. Then we're gonna come into the side body. So along the side body, I'm gonna use the alpha ball. If this is really tender, you can use something with a larger surface area. So the smaller the surface area, the more intense it's going to be. The larger the ball, the more dispersed the force will be, so that it's less point tender and less intense, less pokey. So here's where you could use, like I said, I'm going to use the alpha ball, but if you are sensitive, a larger ball or a softer ball would work even better. A kid's play ball, even a soccer ball. This Coregeous ball is incredible. Or maybe that's where you play with the foam roller. Again, the foam roller would work really well because we're going to go all the way up the side, and you'll get nice broad contact here. So I will, if you keep your cameras on, I can give you tips based upon whatever tools you have. So don't worry if you don't have everything. Rolling pins work as well as cans. So be creative, and let me help you if you have any questions. So that's the kind of the overall plan tonight. So we're going to start right at the feet. Since it's still a little bit more lively day-like, we're actually going to just make our first roll a really basic standing roll on the bottom of the foot. We're not going to spend too much time there, but I want to get right into the arch of the foot. So take one of your therapy balls and go ahead and stand up. And place right down into the arch of the ball. And I happened, just in case you have the full set of balls, I happened to grab my plus size set today. I kind of like the plus size set when I'm doing that sandwiching technique. And I'm not even gonna roll. I'm just gonna kind of let my arch drop over the ball. And as you arrive, just take a few breaths. Keep the knees soft. See if you can let the toes just start to fall down towards the floor. Pause here for just a few more breaths. Really lifting the arch here, because you have on the outside of the foot your peroneal muscles, or your fibularis muscles, sometimes they'll call them. I've always called them the peroneals, but they're the same, along the fibula. And then on the inside, you have your posterior tib that comes around. And that posterior tib and then the peroneals, and then a little bit of the anterior tib too, create that's a sling to support the arch of the foot. So we're just getting into that sling, starting at the beginning of a chain. Take a few breaths. And then release. And then go ahead and switch sides. Press right into the high point, or sometimes they'll call it the keystone of the arch. And feel the knee soften. Let go of any efforting in the hip and feel gravity pulling you down into the weight of your body as it meets the ball. So less efforting and more surrendering into gravity. Breathe right down into the arch of your foot, visualizing that sling that supports the arch. Some of the densest fascia we have is in the legs because this soft tissue container has to also regulate the fluid in our body. So as gravity pulls the fluid down, something has to hold it up. We're like 75, almost 80% water. And if we didn't have a strong, firm container, we would just not be shaped like this. So these tissues do a lot of work. So it's good to spend some time. Take 3 more breaths. And then release. Now let's make our way down towards the floor. I'm going to come right to that sandwiching technique I was talking about. I'm going to take 2 tools. So if they're the same size, great. If they're not the same size, that's okay too. It doesn't matter here. We're going to take one above and one below the shin, and we're going to be working the bottom shin. And find that spot right around where the calf is the widest, right in that bulk. And then now, once you find a spot that's tender by maybe bending and straightening your knees or sliding your top shin over the bottom shin, start to point and flex your bottom foot. Lindsay, give me a thumbs up. Did you get balls? Yeah, I see. That's an exciting day. And then when that feels like it's moving well, slide those balls up a little bit in the calf. Find another ball stop or another point of tenderness. And we'll pin and stretch. And so even while doing this, and if you'd like, you can lie your head all the way down. And then even while doing this, we're even getting some flossing to the nerves. This point and flexing of the foot with this kind of gripping will help the nerves glide better too. And then roll up one more time. I'm actually going to just reposition the balls. Now I want to be towards the upper part of the shin. Do a little exploration. And find the just right spot for you. So this work is very intuitive. I want you to hone your listening skills, to start to become your own teacher. In yoga, we call that the Satguru. So being your own guide, listening to your internal wisdom. And sometimes that requires just being still. One of my favorite books these days that we read a little from every morning is called Stillness Speaks by Eckhart Tolle. I highly recommend it. It's all just short little briefs about moving into stillness. And that's a lot of what we're doing in this work. We're starting to draw our attention inward, to listen to ourselves better so that we can heal ourselves and give ourselves what we need. And then as you're ready, let's stay on this leg instead of hopping over to the other side. Let's come just above the knee joint now. So not on the space of the joint, because that's where the movement actually occurs. And all a joint is a space. We want to influence the tissues that pull on that space. So we'll come just above. So now you're just at the very bottom of the femur, above the joint line, and then take the other ball and bring it to the inside of the knee, just above the ridge of the femur. So now, and this can be really beneficial, this move right here, for if you have any like patellofemoral stuff. So still doing that same flossing or pin and stretch action, but now the joint that's doing the movement is the knee. So start to bend and straighten your knee. And don't try to go through the full range. Again, start to listen to where you feel that little pull, that speed bump, and say, oh, I hear you. And then pause there and back off. Then meet it again. And then soon it will let you over. Being certain not to plow through. And you get to control how much pressure. So based upon how much you're pushing down, you can control the squeeze, that clamping. And then find your next ball spot. Stop. Sliding the balls up a bit. And again, 2 alpha balls could work here, 2 more softball size too. That will make it a bit less point tender. So start to bend and straighten the knee. And as I moved up here, that IT band now is preventing me from straightening the knee all the way. So I'm just going to listen. I'm going to breathe into it. You may even decide, if you find yourself efforting, to just stop and maintain compression, some deep pressure. And that deep pressure is super powerful. And then find another spot. So as I get up here more in the middle of my thigh, I'm going to take my yoga block just to help me get a little bit more pressure so I can clamp down a little better. And I'll actually stay down here. I'll support my head with this foam roller, doing as little work as possible. So I always say, do as much as necessary, but as little as possible. I actually haven't said that in a while in this class, but I say that a lot when I'm working with my physical therapy clients.
Erica, I think we lost your visual.
Oh no. Thank you for telling me. I think okay, let me know if that happens again. My low battery just went on, so I might end up changing you to my computer if it goes down to 10%. So just let me know. I can put my computer up there instead. It's just the camera's way better on the phone.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So just another minute here. Find one more spot, one more stop along this trail, along this line. Breathing deeply. Okay, last ball stop. I'm going to come for this last stop. I'm going to come right under the greater trochanter, so that lateral bony spot. So it actually kind of makes me rotate onto my back just a little bit. And then I'm going to bring that ball up as high as I can into the groin. So I'm really just squeezing that upper thigh. And here's where, if you have the alpha ball, that alpha ball works really nice in the upper thigh. I'm going to stick to this today. Couple more. Pin and straighten, or just find stillness and take a few breaths. Make sure you're keeping the pelvis down on the floor so that you're not floating entirely on top of the ball here, because then you'll probably be gripping and guarding. And then release. And we'll do one more pass on this side. So now take the therapy ball. So you're on your side, roll towards your back just for a moment so that you can place the ball right behind the bony point of the hip. So now I'm on my back and I'm gonna roll back to my side. And so now I'm in the glutes, right behind where the glutes attach to the outer hip. So I'm not on the bone, but just behind that bony prominence, and it's actually lifting my pelvis up a bit. And here, if you can lie just flat on your back. And it's probably a bit tender. So what I want to engage here is a little contract. So squeeze your behind, and as you squeeze your behind, actually push your whole thigh and whole shin into the floor. So compressing the area we just rolled. And then release. And then let's do that 2 more times. Push the whole outside of your shin and your thigh into the floor. And release. And then do one more round. And release. Okay. Rolling off that hip. Let's come to the other side. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up through the whole leg, and then we'll move into the back and get both sides of the back. So just slide on over to the other side. Balls come all the way back down to the shin. So inside and outside of the lower leg, around the musculotendinous junction. So just above the Achilles tendon, where the 2 muscle bellies start to converge to form that tendon. So bottom foot is the foot that we're clamping and mobilizing. So the bottom foot points and flexes. Yeah, and then you can make your way all the way down, moving closer to the floor. If you prefer to be up on your elbow, that's good too. And then bend and straighten the knees to find that next spot along the shin. And you can even just replace the balls. Find that perfect spot of sensation. So use sensation, the physical sensations of the body, as the guide. And pause and ask the body, what are you looking for What are you telling me? As you start to listen, you'll be able to become that internal teacher. And the first part of that is welcoming, not trying to evict or evacuate these symptoms or sensations, welcoming them as teachers. And then sliding the therapy balls up one more time. So now you're in the upper part of the calf. Maybe bending and straining a little bit before you just land on that last just right spot. And right now for me, it's asking to just go up and down along it, to strip along before I do the pin and stretch first. Remember to breathe deeply and let go of the efforting. Allow yourself just to listen, just to be, and allow your body to do as little as possible, only as much as necessary. And then as you're ready, no rush, stay as long as you need wherever the body's calling. But then when you're ready, slide up just above the knee joint. So now that you're at the end of the femur, you're coming right to the end of the IT band and then right to that adductor attachment. And now the knee becomes the driver and we bend and straighten our bottom knee. Do a little pin and stretch. We're getting IT band and adductor gliding as we do this. So only going through a comfortable arc. Full range of motion will come, but that's not the immediate goal. The immediate goal is meeting the edge, meeting the sensation. And then you'll find that as you welcome the sensation and meet yourself right where you are, we'll start to soften. And then go ahead, make your way up. Now in the middle-ish portion, you may find that if you have a smaller set of balls to get a good compression, a good squeezing, just having a little extra block or book may feel nice. Remembering to breathe. Remembering that stillness is an option. And maybe sometimes stillness is the best option. So find another spot now in the upper half of the thigh. Keeping the pelvis down on the floor behind you so that your hips aren't lifting up and you're not holding your whole weight on the ball. The more you rotate back, the more you'll unweight yourself. The more you rotate forward, the more you'll increase the weight into the therapy. And noting what sensations, what emotions, what thoughts even arise as you do this work. As we do the outer hips and inner thighs, we're getting into, and then I'm going to come to one more spot, right up in the groin and right at the edge of the greater trochanter, bony hip point at the side of my hip. So as I was saying, this might be a good spot to just maintain compression, but listen to what the body's asking. And as we come into these areas, this is the detoxification channels of the body. So actually, spring is a time where if you do yin yoga or if you go to acupuncture, they'll talk about the liver and the gallbladder meridians quite a bit. There might be frustration, imbalance in the liver is often associated with anger. So it could be irritability. You could start to be antsy, and just notice. So those are all spectrums on the spectrum of anger. And just notice if any self-judgment arises and let it go. Just be with what is, welcoming whatever the body is telling you. And then go ahead and remove your props momentarily. Kind of roll back onto your back partially to place the ball now, the therapy ball, just one, just behind the bony hip prominence. And now let that knee fall back to the side, bringing you back to the side. So rolling onto the ball. So we rolled off and now we are rolling on the ball. And now using that whole outer leg, push the outer leg into the floor. Squeeze your buttock, engage the hip rotators here. Engage the gluteals here. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release and allow yourself to sink in just a little bit more. Letting go completely into the ball. And when you're ready, press your shin, press your thigh down, and engage the buttocks, engaging the outer leg on the right or whichever side you're rolling. I like to give you the option. And release. And then one more round. Foot presses into the floor, knee presses into the floor, thigh presses into the floor, and then gluteal tightens, pushing the ball out. And then release. And now roll off of the balls onto your back and just take a minute here and allow the legs to relax completely towards the floor. Maybe rotate the feet in and out so that you get a little vibration. So vibratory movement is also really good and really stimulating for lymphatic drainage, for proprioception, for our fascia. So just kind of wiggling the feet in and out is a really nice way to kind of flush this out. And then come to stillness and then really let the legs be heavy. Feeling the ripples start to dissolve, moving into stillness here, resetting, and preparing to begin again as we come onto our side again to work the side body. And this is where I was saying, I'm going to use the alpha ball. If you tend to be pretty tender, a larger, softer ball would do the job. And if you have a foam roller could also work. If you only have a small set of therapy balls, I have two options for you. You can probably put them in the tote. That might be helpful. And then if you just put them up on something, it will fill the space a little bit better. It could even be a pillow, or it could even be just a blanket, just so that you fill that side space a little bit. So I'm going to first come right into the quadratus lumborum. I'm going to come to the right side first, and I'm going to come right in between that space between the pelvis and the rib cage. And all I'm going to do is lie on the ball. And you might notice the initial reaction is to tighten up. So I'm right in that space between the rib cage and pelvis, right on the side body, lying on my side. And that's why you have to elevate the ball a little bit oftentimes, because we tend to have, that's right in our narrow spot of the waist. And I'm going to just start to do a little spinal movement here. And it could start as a pelvic tilt, but then it might become more of a rounding and an arching through the whole spine, more of like a cat and cow on your side. Be playful, be creative with it. So it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. And we're using this forward and back activation or tipping of the pelvis to work our way into the side body. And here we're still below the level of the liver. Like I said, working this inner outer line of the body. We're working with the liver energy, detoxifying energy, spring energy. Sometimes anger, sometimes holding on. And then maybe just find stillness and reset. And then let's actually move the ball up. So now you're not in that space, but you're actually right over the physiological liver. So in the lower rib cage now. And I'm going to give you a couple options here. You could lie right over it again, and you could roll over it still by getting that kind of arch and round. If that feels like a lot moving over it, you might, moving the whole body, you might do just a little rotation over it, using the top hand to kind of rotate you back and then pull you over. It depends on what ball you have and how much surface area it's covering. And even if that feels like a lot, maybe instead of moving the upper body, you drive with the knee. So driving the pelvis forward, rotating the pelvis towards the floor, and then rotating the pelvis back. I just saw that you lost me. I'm going to shift to my... Yeah. And then so you're right in the pelvis, you're right in the side of the rib cage, right over the physiological liver now on the right side, this huge, big, dense organ. And then maybe you even decide to roll along up and down the side seam of the body. See how that feels. And if you have the two balls in the tote, that might mean turning the direction of the balls. So to go forward and back on the double balls, they would be in a vertical way. And then to go up and down, they'd be more in a horizontal fashion. And then as you're ready, let's work our way up even again. So here, I want you to find the bottom corner of the shoulder blade. So the lat catches the bottom corner of the shoulder blade. So now we were just here. Now we're rolling up to here. And you can feel for that bony point of the shoulder blade. As you raise the arm overhead, it comes towards the midline of the body. And then find the edge of that with the ball. So catch it. And most likely it will be a bit tender. And maybe you just find stillness here, taking a few breaths. Or you can come back to that rocking over. So a forward and back rocking, like you're going across the seam of a shirt. Or you can go in line with the seam of the shirt here, up and down a little bit. I really like just finding stillness at this point for a couple of moments. Listening to whatever your body is calling for. Where is it calling you to go? Are you well with the sensation, or are you efforting or fighting over the sensation? How can you meet yourself just as you are, right where you are? And how can you use curiosity and at the same time self-love and self-care to kindly the body in these areas that we don't touch often, especially around where we are now here. And then once that softens, come right to the side of the shoulder blade. So now you're exploring, we were just at the corner of the shoulder blade. Now you're exploring along the outside edge of the shoulder blade. So coming up right towards the armpits now, along the outside edge of the shoulder blade. Rolling up and down or rolling over. This top arm can create that rotational action. You're going to bump up into some of the rotator cuff muscles of the shoulder, and those might be a little tender as well. And then maybe you just let yourself be heavy over the sensation of the therapy balls. Taking a few breaths here. And then releasing. And moving up above the shoulder now. So now coming into the side of the neck. So with my alpha ball, I can come right to the side of my neck. If I move my arm out, if I have my smaller set of therapy balls, I'm just giving you options, I need to place my head on something. And I want to come right onto the side of my neck. And then I'm going to lean back just a little bit so that I get right into the L, that space between the neck and shoulder here. And so I'm still on that lateral line. I'm right at the crease between the neck and shoulder, slightly at the back side of the body. So these muscles are what do side bending to the body or tip the head to the side. And as you rotate back, you should even feel like this ball creates a little platform for the musculature. If this isn't working, if the small ball too is too sensitive and you have a foam roller on the side of the neck is an amazing tool. It really hugs the curve of the neck. And if you just rest the foam roller right above the shoulder, it will really give you some nice support to maintain midline position. And that rotating back, if you make it a little bit more active over the foam roller, you'll really get a nice side massage. So therapy ball right in the upper trap. I'm leaning back just a little bit so I create a little ledge for it to rest upon. And now I'm just letting the head be heavy wherever I am. And I'm breathing right into where the ball and the body meet. Taking 3 more breaths here. Repositioning the ball to find that just right spot, right at the crease between the neck and the shoulder. You sort of find it, but when you first just find it, there's not a lot of pressure. Then you just rotate back a little bit, and you should just land right into the meat of that musculature as you rotate towards the back side of the body. So if you rotate the top shoulder back and nose towards the sky, you should land right in it. And you may even rotate the head a couple times now. Rotate forward, rotate face up. See what happens as you roll over the ball. Trying to keep the neck in a neutral position. Trying to allow the head to feel supported so you don't have to hold it up at all. If you're holding the ball up, it's going to start to feel sore. You'll be using the other side of the neck too much. And as you're ready, go ahead and release. You can just flip over or come to your other side. We'll come right back down to the hip, the side of the waist on the other side, coming back to the quadratus lumborum, working your way right back up. So head can come down and place your therapy ball to begin in that space right between the pelvis and the rib cage. And then start to just move the body forward and back. Forward and back. Pelvic tilting. Allowing that pelvic tilting to become more of a wave through the whole spine. Breathing deeply, allowing the breath to fill where the ball and the body meet. Maybe stillness is calling you. There's no right way. As long as you listen, and as long as you do no harm. So that's always the first rule. Do no harm in these practices. And maybe after stillness, the body softens and allows you to start to move again. But you listen to your body. I'm just giving you suggestions. And the most important thing is to feel and to breathe. Taking 3 more breaths here. And then as you're ready, taking your therapy balls up and moving them into the rib cage on the left. And so now there's lots of different options. You can rotate over. If you have the smaller set of balls, you might put them vertically to rotate, or horizontally if you want to do a little stripping up and down along the line of the seam of the shirt seam. So we're doing the lateral seam of the body, and you can go up and down, or you can rotate. The top hand can become a driver to help you rotate over the ball. And to change the sensation, if it's too much or too little, you can change the bottom arm position. You can see for me, this side must be more tender because I'm propping myself up on my elbow to meet that resistance a little bit because it feels more intense. But as the body softens, I can start to come down more. Don't forget, stillness is always just as good of an option. The rib cage moves primarily through the breath. So if you pause and breathe into where the ball and body meet, you're going to get a beautiful inside out. So from the inside, an internal massage right to where the ball and the body meet contact. And now we're over the stomach here. So just note the difference in sensation between the hollow, muscular stomach and then the dense liver. Maybe it feels different to you. You're still rolling, just observing, seeking out sensation. You have a lot of territory to cover. So if you feel like I'm ready to move up, I'm ready to move on, find the bottom corner of the shoulder blade. And as the arm reaches up overhead, the corner of the shoulder blade is going to pop out right to the side seam of the body. And it's usually a pretty tender spot. It gets sticky because the lat grabs on here. And what I really love to do is find stillness over that point and then feel the body literally soften. It's like you melt into the sensation of the ball. And then once that begins to soften, roll along right along the outside edge of the shoulder blade. So from that shoulder blade corner right up into the armpits. Finishing up that seam right in the back crease of the armpit. So we'll come right to this bottom angle here. You'll even get a little rotator cuff shoulder motion. And then stay here as long as you like. But if you really loved the neck and feel like you want to move up to the neck, I used the ball on the block here. I came right into that crease where the shoulder and the neck met. And like I said, there's not a lot of sensation when you first land here. But as you rotate, because you're on the back, like half of the neck. And so you'll feel it a little bit, but as you then just rotate the body back just a couple degrees towards the ceiling and move into that posterior or back side tissue, you should start to feel into that back body. The trapezius musculature. You'll be right in the edge of it. You'll probably catch the border of it. And you might even create a little platform that the upper trap rests on. So that muscle bulk might even be sitting on the ball. And you might reposition the head a little bit to find that. And then just arrive here and breathe. So try to keep the head as in neutral of position as possible so that the head's not tipping way down and compressing that underside. And then also so the head's not way up in the air. So create a little pillow stack. Use a block. Find the most comfortable position for you. So make this your practice and make it unique so that it meets you right where you are with exactly what your body needs. And allow the head just to melt, to be heavy, to fall into the weight of the ball. And then after the sensation in the upper trap subsides and it's just the head resting on the ball and the pressure between the two surfaces, maybe you start to add a little rotation of the head, looking up towards the sky, and then coming back and looking forward. Taking about 5 more breaths of movement, of stillness, of exploration in the upper trap, in that L between the neck and the shoulder on the back half of the body. That place you want everyone to squeeze when they rub your shoulders. And as you're ready, as you feel complete, remove all of your tools, all of your props, roll flat onto your back and let your entire body relax here. And feel the heaviness in the head, in the shoulders, in the ribs, in the low back, in the hips, thighs, calves, and feet. Whole body heavy and relaxed on the earth. And then, as I promised, we're going to use our feet against the wall. So taking as little effort as possible, reposition yourselves so that you can bring your feet against the wall, and you're going to just start out in a star
So your video is out again.
Switch you to here, hopefully. That would be good. Let me lift you up. I'm so sorry about this. I went out today to go do a antibody test because I'm going back to work part-time. And so I didn't charge my phone before class. Okay, so on your back, feet against the wall. So now you're going to be in a star position. So feet wide, arms wide. Now, turn the toes to the right on the right foot. So push the right foot, toes turning to the right leg rotated out. Left toes stay pointed towards the sky. And so just listen, and you're going to go towards a triangle pose. So legs are going to stay straight, legs are going to stay pushing into the wall. Keep your arms out like a T, and all I want you to do is slide without lifting your body. Slide the right hand towards the right foot. And then just pause wherever you land. And notice how it feels. Start to feel the lengthening in the left side of the body. And then when you feel like you have a little bit more space, ground down through the left heel and then slide the right hand more towards the right foot. And now I can start to reach the left arm up away from the wall. So I'm pushing my left heel into the wall and reaching my left arm away from the wall. And then you can decide how much you want to engage the neck. You may tip the right ear towards the right shoulder and even rotate the head a little bit left and right to find them that perfect upper trap stretch. So you should be feeling length along the entire left side of the body. Letting the body maintain a heaviness into the floor. And then one more time, walk the right hand towards the right foot. Reach through the left fingertips, keeping that left arm on the floor, pushing through the left heel, breathing into the entire left side of the body. And notice how each stop along the path feels different, how it changes. Notice where you feel the breath filling the body here. Coming back to the breath over and over again. Sensing where the breath moves through the body. Feeling how that edge steadily progresses, and all of a sudden you feel that you can move a little further, or you're lying here with a little bit more ease. And then let the left arm sway down back towards the left hip. And now reach the left arm to the left to pull you back up towards that starting star position. And now reach the left hand towards the left foot, sliding, keeping the body on the floor, sliding now towards the other direction. Turn the left toes out to the side and keep the right toes now pushing towards the sky, both heels reaching into the wall. Finding that first edge of movement. Right arm and foot now reaching away from each other, and left hand and foot reaching towards one another. When you feel the body soften and there's a little bit more space, allow yourself to keep moving along this path, finding the next edge without efforting or forcing, letting that new mobility arise and arrive in the body with time, with attention, and with breath. Let the head fall to the left too, opening that space between the neck and the shoulder in the upper trap region. You can play with the right arm position to emphasize the right trap. Wherever you are, allowing the body to be there, letting go of any internal struggle and letting yourself be heavy on the floor. And then making one more progression to the left. Right side of the body long. Left side of the body compressing towards the wall. And then letting the right arm come back towards the right side. Use the hand to pull you back towards neutral. And then hug your knees into your chest. Hug your head into your knees. Make yourself as tight as you can into a little ball. Even rocking side to side a bit. And then returning onto your back onto your mat for our last posture. So now we're going to cross our right foot over the left. So right knee over the left knee. But now what we're going to do is we're going to reach our hands towards our feet. So our feet are going to come apart from one another while in a cross position. Yeah. And now let the head relax. Knees are stacked.
And now curl yourself up into a little ball. Feel the outer hips stretching here. Try to drag the shoulders down towards the floor and try to pull the feet up towards the head. And notice how the body's feeling here. This can be one of those postures that you can find that you can have that little struggle. This is really getting into the outer hips, kind of like pigeon. So if this is just not working for you, pigeon could be an option. But it's good to try different positions and notice how you respond. Notice if the body is loving it or averting it. Notice where you're efforting or holding in your body. How can you allow or soften into this posture to make it sustainable? Take 5 more breaths here. Asking yourself, how can I be more at ease? How can I be at ease with myself right now? Breathing deeply. Taking one more round of breath. And then slowly unraveling the legs, hugging both knees into the chest for a moment. Letting the sensation drain out of the hips. And then preparing for the other side, crossing the left knee over the right knee. And instead of wrapping the lower legs are going to come apart. Hands come to the outside of the feet. Hands are pulling the feet up towards the head, but shoulder blades are staying relaxed and supported on the floor. And as you arrive, notice where you're holding. Notice if you're efforting. Notice any mental patterns, thoughts, or judgments. Allow it all to be there as a messenger, as a teacher, and then ask yourself, how can I be at ease with myself right now for the next breaths? For 3 or so more breaths, how can you feel supported and make this sustainable for the next 3 breaths? Knowing that this too will dissolve. And then unravel the legs. Let the legs come all the way down to the earth. Feel the feet fall out to the side. Allow the arms to come away from the body. And then start to make your way towards a Shavasana, moving through anything that your body's calling for to get there, or grabbing anything you may need, whether it's a blanket or a sweatshirt or socks. Letting go of any last bit of efforting. Resting in stillness. And as you arrive here, as you allow the body to come to stillness, allow the more subtle aspects to begin to awaken. Awakening awareness to sounds in the room around you. Shapes or light behind the eyes. Even remnants of taste within the mouth. The scent of air on your skin. The sense of air moving in through your nostrils, filling your body. Welcoming all sensations. Now allow my words to be your words as we rotate awareness around the body. Drawing awareness to the jaw, mouth, tongue, throat, left ear, right ear, both ears, left eye, right eye, both eyes simultaneously, left nostril, right nostril, the air flowing in and out of both nostrils as sensation. The forehead, the crown of the head, the back of the head, the whole head. Inside wall of the head. The brain resting heavy inside of the head. The whole face, head, and neck has sensation. Left shoulder, upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist and hand. right shoulder, upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist and hand. Both arms as sensation. The torso, the front of the torso, back of the torso, left side wall of the torso, right side wall of the torso. Inside the torso, outside of the torso, the whole torso as sensation. Left buttock, left hip, left thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle and foot, the whole left leg, right buttock, right hip, thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle and foot, the whole right leg, both legs as sensation. The whole front of the body, the entire back of the body, the left side of the body, the right side of the body, the inside of the body, outside of the body. The whole body is a pure field of radiant, vibrating sensation. Body asleep, yet alert, awake and attentive. Feeling the body breathe itself. Breath entering, exiting the body. Let go. And allow your body to breathe itself, feeling the sensation of breath entering and exiting the body. Even though the body is fast asleep, feeling yourself as attentive, wide awake. Sensing yourself as awareness. Drop it back into awareness, in which all of these sensations in the body and the breath and the mind are arising. As awareness, where is my center? As awareness, where is my periphery? Feel into the edge of your awareness, expanding beyond the hands, beyond the feet, beyond the head. Finding the limits of your periphery, expanding into vast, spacious, open awareness. And now return, feeling the heaviness of the sacrum on the earth. The edges of the body. The breath entering and exiting the body. Can you hold the body and vast, spacious awareness at the same time? Sensing the paradox, and then slowly turning to your side, carrying that spacious awareness on the inside, yet physical boundaries of the body on the outside. Feel the earth beneath you. Reconnect to this place. Push down into it for external support. And as you push down, find that internal strength to rise up back to center. And from that space we created in the physical body, in the breath body, and this body of awareness, can you cultivate a sense of gratitude, welcoming of all parts of you? As you move from this mat back into the world to share your authentic self and do your good work. Thank you. Namaste.